The 2025 Major League Baseball season is off and running, and across all 30 Major League teams, storylines are emerging. Surprises, struggles, breakouts, and early warning signs. They're all there. And now that we're a month into the season, it's time to start connecting some of these dots and see what stories are being written about each and every team across Major League Baseball in this 2025 campaign. Welcome to the Early Observation Series here on the Baseball Banter Broadcast. Let's get into it. On the first installment of this early observation series, we looked at a team in the Detroit Tigers who were playing much better than people expected. However, on this installment, we're looking at a team that was expected to be a postseason contender, built upon the success of their young superstar players. It has not turned out that way early for the Baltimore Orioles, so let's get into why. Now, when it comes to the Baltimore Orioles, the failure starts with the pitching staff. The Orioles find themselves at this moment in time as the worst team by team ERA in the American League, and only ahead of the Miami Marlins, who are the worst in baseball when it comes to team ERA. The Orioles find themselves with a 5.52 ERA through the 29th of April. There's no doubt about it that when you get a starting pitching staff that is giving up on average nearly 5.5 runs a game, it's going to be very difficult to succeed. Obviously, you're going to then need your offense to go to another level offensively to be able to put that kind of run total together to try to come out victorious. It is for that reason that the Orioles find themselves in such a struggle right now when it comes to the battle in the American League East. We know that it is always a difficult battle in the AL East, and Baltimore is finding themselves falling out of contention very quickly. And while it's too early to scoreboard watch, the Orioles are 6.5 games out of first place and find themselves sitting under 500 with an 11-18 record in the American League. Again, it's early. That's why this series is called Early Observations. It is very possible that this Orioles team is going to be able to turn things around very quickly. Gunnar Henderson got off to a slow start, starting the year in the minors, building up after being on the injured list. So his presence is going to make a big impact for the Orioles long term as the season goes on. But early on, he's still trying to find his footing, and the Orioles offensively are scuffling thereafter. As of this recording, Gunnar Henderson has a slash line of 227, 269, and 420 slugging for an WRC plus, which league average is 100, of 93. So when you're sitting there at 7% points lower than a league average player, and you are the face of this franchise offensively, you're going to be on a team that is struggling. There's no question about that, in my opinion. There's no doubt to me that by season's end, Gunnar Henderson is going to find himself significantly over that WRC plus number, or in baseball reference, the OPS plus number. There's no doubt about that for me. And again, this is an early observation. So for Orioles fans, there's no doubt you're going to have to push a little bit harder on the brakes when it comes to that panic button. I think that for this team, once they get the pitching situation figured out, that's when this team is going to start firing on all cylinders. You cannot continue to give up 5.5 runs a game and just think that you're going to win ball games. It's not going to happen that way. Baltimore right now is scoring about 4 runs a game, but when you're giving up 5.5, that's where this team is going to fall apart. For the Orioles to be successful, they are going to have that starting rotation start to limit the damage on the runs. Just a few days ago, the Baltimore Orioles were the worst team when it came to team ERA. Again, Miami is the only team worse than them now in all of Major League Baseball. So there's no doubt about it, for the Orioles to be successful, they have to get their pitching under control. But that's easier said than done. Obviously, it's early on in the season, and trades can be made to try to bolster this team's rotation, and the Orioles have the prospect capital to be able to do just that. But this was something that I mentioned early on throughout the course of this season. there is a no doubt chance in my mind that when you don't bring back a guy like Corbin Burnes and you don't do enough to replace him, that has a carryover effect. Yes, Sugano has been an absolute revelation. This is a true star pitcher, in my opinion. Watching what he was able to do to the Yankees the other night, there's no doubt that this is going to be a guy who, at least the first time through facing teams, he's going to be able to mix and match, keep teams off balance, and do the job very well as a starting pitcher. But the other acquisition that the Orioles made for their starting rotation in Charlie Morton has been the complete opposite. Arguably the worst starter in Major League Baseball. If you go through this year and you don't have those reinforcements that you were expecting from the minor leagues in a Grayson Rodriguez, because we have no idea what his timeline is actually going to be this year, the Orioles are going to have to make some sort of moves. It has to come for the starting rotation for this team to be successful. Again, trying to put up 6 runs a game to cover the woes of the 5.5 runs that your team is giving up in terms of your pitching staff is unmanageable expectations. There's no doubt about that. So for the Orioles to be successful, they have to get their pitching under control. Again, this is an early observation, but to me, if the Orioles are going to be successful, and that's the goal of this team, to not have their window closed just after it opened up, it is going to come with starting pitching. I want to hear from you, Orioles fans. Let me know your thoughts, your feelings on this, and where the Orioles find themselves in terms of your thought process in postseason contention. Is it too early to start counting them out? Are you hitting that panic button? Or is this just an early blip in an otherwise absolutely wonderful storytelling season of coming back from the bottom to win it all? But I want to hear from you. Let me know that down in the comments section. As always, baseball fans, if you're not a fan of the Orioles, let me know your early observations for your teams down in the comments. And make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell for post notifications, as we are going to be covering each and every team in Major League Baseball, and you don't want to miss when we get to your team's early observation. As always, make sure you check out the description below, as it does have the Linktree link for our store here. There it's where all the pertinent details in terms of our merchandise store, our sponsor links, social platforms, and audio platforms. By hitting that link and going to those aforementioned sites, it does truly help this channel grow and continue. And as always, make sure on this YouTube side, again, that you hit that subscribe button. It does truly help us build out this community. And that's what we want here, is to be able to have this baseball community continue to grow. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and make sure you keep it locked in. And I will catch you guys on the next video when we continue to look at the early observations. Peace.